Busy. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the last area that we're going to hit here is the, or last two areas, really comes down to, you know, sort of custom kind of stuff. And the, as we talked about yesterday and today, is we have the ability to customize our forms. And when you look in your list, and it's really the last list we're going to look at in any detail, is the template list. Now the templates are all the standard forms that QuickBooks has created for you. And all of you get it, whether you have Pro, Premier, whatever, you will get these forms. Now I've created some custom ones, so I have more than the standard, but all the standard ones pretty much are from here on down. There's like 6 or 7, I think there's 6 invoice templates. There's 2 credit memo templates. She's louder being in the hall because it echoes through. There's a sales receipt, there's a purchase order, there's a statement, and there's like 2 estimates, and I think only 1 sales order. These other ones, or there's 3 of them because you've got the packing list. So anyway, these are your standard forms under your template list. So what you want to do is you want to, if you want to customize it, you just want to open it up. Now you can also open up the templates when you're in the actual form itself. So in other words, if you were doing an invoice, you have the ability to customize a template or get in the same screens we're about to get into right from here, right from the invoice itself, or estimate, or whatever the appropriate item is. So you would just say, where is it? There should be a customize forms. Why aren't I seeing it? Create a copy. Maybe it, no, that's not it. Now where the, oh, it's up here. There's drop-down menus up here. So formatting would be, you'd go under formatting and you'd say manage templates. Okay, that would be a way of getting into creating a new template. So you can get into any template to change it by going to the formatting drop-down menu under the form you're in and then getting into it this way, okay? Or custom design, same thing. Custom design would bring me also to the ability to customize the form. And then there's forms you can actually get online. See what's it's loading online forms. You can go online and they have all these like ones you can just borrow from Intuit. You can, I don't know if they still charge you, but you have the ability to like create your own forms online and then download it in. So there's lots of ways of playing with these forms, okay? Let's get over to QuickBooks again. Oh, I was in there. So let's go back to the way I was doing it, just in the template menu. You just pick the one closest to the one you want to modify. Let's say Intuit product invoice, and it opens up this basic customization screen, which is the same screen I was in when I went to the invoice. I went to the formatting and I clicked on the, you know, design form. So the first layer, if you will, of customizing a form is this basic customization. And in the basic customization window, what you can do is you can make some changes. You could, for example, you can add a logo. Okay, you would go ahead and go to a browser window and find a logo that you want to put in here. I don't have one, so I'm not going to put one in. But if you did, it would just show up in the middle of the form here. You can change the color of the template in terms of the borders. So if I wanted to make this a maroon, provided I have a color printer, I can make this a maroon invoice or whatever these color choices are. Okay? Now I can change the font for the different areas, whether it's title, company, different labels, subtotals, whatever. And this is the standard font pop-up window where I can change the type of font it is, the style, and the size, and even the color. All right, so there's a lot, just in this window you can make a lot of changes. In terms of what's showing up on the template, I can select or deselect these. Like, see these boxes down below here? If I deselect them, they disappear. And notice when I do have them, they're overlapping right now. Now I'm going to show you in a little bit how to move things around so they wouldn't be overlapping. Okay? Then, once you're done making those choices, if that's all you want to do, that's fine. If you wanted to change the name of the template, you could do that under Manage Templates. So I could change the name. Once I say create a custom template, if I didn't want to call it copy 3 or something, I could change the name. Since this is the standard template, I can't change the standard template, but I can make a copy of it, which I'm about to do. When I go to additional customization, it'll say, okay, now that you're going to make more changes, we're going to make a copy of this, and it calls it copy 4. So I could go back to the basic customization and call it something different if I didn't want to call it copy 4. In this level of customization, what you can do is for all the headers and all the columns, you can change the wording of what these fields or these headers are called, and you can determine whether you want it to appear on the screen or whether you want it to print it. So in other words, if you just wanted to see the information internally, you would unselect print here, and then it wouldn't print out. Because some things you may want to hide from your customers or whoever this relates to. Okay? And you can customize any of these fields, like I said, either by changing the wording or whether it shows up on the screen or it prints out. You can do that for headers, so all the header information here. You can do it for columns, that's these things in the body. Okay? You can do it if you were if this was a progress invoice template, you could do it for those columns, but since it's not, well, maybe this one is. Oh no, they're great. Oh no, that's not grayed out. You could add those columns, I should say, to this template if you wanted to change that customization. Right now, they're not selected, so they're not showing up. But if you wanted to add these kind of columns to this template, you could do that. And same thing with the footer. If you wanted to change what the footer says and whether it's screen or print, you can do that here as well. So that's pretty cool that you can really literally select what you call it, whether they show up on the screen or whether they print out. And that's the additional customization. So any questions so far on basic or additional customization? All right. The last level of customization is the layout designer. And the layout designer, when you select that, it's even more detail you can play with. So it literally shows you your template. This is all templates, by the way, are 8.5 by 11. Sometimes people say, well, what if I want to make, well, it's 8.5 by 11. You're stuck with the dimensions, okay? So there are no real choices in that regard. So there's my 8.5 by 11. Now, what you can do when you're in here is you can go to any of these boxes or fields. You can hold down your left mouse key and you can move it around. So I don't want it there. I can move it where I want. I can resize it. I can do all kinds of things. Change the color. If I double click on the field, this properties window comes up. It tells me it's a label field, meaning it's not coming from the database. It's literally a label that I have on the template. I can change the wording of it. I can change the text, the justification of it, where it's positioned, color, font, borders. I can add borders, different line types for the borders, different colors. I can change even the background colors if I wanted to. Okay? So you can have full customization of your labels. Now the actual data fields, where data is provided by the database, if you double click on one of these fields, it tells you it's a data field. That's how you know it is. Again, you can change the text in terms of the justification of it, color, font, border, and background. So there's tremendous flexibility in how you want something to look, where you want it to be. This here, these like shadowed boxes, these are if you were doing an envelope, you know, a form that you wanted to fold to put in an envelope, this is where you'd put the return address and where you're sending it. If you don't want that to show, and this won't show up anywhere else, this is just in the Layout Designer, but if this just annoyed you, you could just uncheck mark it and it won't show. But you can move this stuff, like say, all around. You know, you can move this stuff around. You can make a real mess of it quick if you aren't good at it. If you make a mistake, you can undo what you did, or you can redo it. Okay, undo, redo. Down on the bottom, remember those overlapping boxes? I could move those. Now they're not overlapping with the bottom. See that? I can move the body. This is the body of the document. I can move it, but I can't delete it. If I want to delete something, I can just highlight it and delete it, except the body. I can't get rid of the body. So if I didn't want these, gone. Just like that. If I made a mistake, I can bring them back. The body you can move, but you can't delete. You can determine the width of the columns. So if I wanted these columns different width, I wanted to provide more room for description, I could do that. So I can change the width. I can change what these are called, just like I did with the other label fields. Now these fields like item code and things like that, I can't delete those. But I could delete, I can't delete that. I can't delete anything in the body. I can just resize it, reword it, but can't delete it. Okay? So that's a lot of things you can do in a form, but I'll tell you another cool thing that you can do is you can insert not only text, you know, a text box, so you call it what you want, and it puts in the middle, you move it where you want. You can also insert images. So if you had an image of something that you wanted to put in there, if you had the PDF or a JPEG or GIF or whatever, you can just download it in by clicking on image, and then you get a browser window. You just go find where it is and bring it in. Okay? Let's see, I think I got a picture. It's sort of a scary picture, but that's me. Okay? So that's a picture you can bring in. I wouldn't recommend that one, but you could. Then there's a data field, and these are all the fields in your database that would relate to this form, and you can bring it in. They're in alphabetical order, so any custom fields, like I created a custom field called birthday, and so I can bring this into the form, and now I can start populating that field, right? So if you create these custom fields and you get them in a form, that's how you end up populating it, so that the database then has that form and you can use it in your reporting or however you want to use it. Okay, that's a very powerful tool, by the way, is to be able to bring in custom fields as well as other fields. Anything check marked means that it's already in here. All right? Any questions on this so far? Makes sense? Have you guys ever customized a form? Yeah. Is it something that may be of value to you? Yeah. Okay. Especially with the custom fields, I think. Because see, now, hopefully what's happened during this course is you start awakening to how you can make this a customized program. You know, this isn't just some Mickey Mouse thing that you're, have to follow this or that. They have some rules, they have some, functionality that you have to follow, but in terms of acquiring the information and using the information, there's a lot of creativity as to how you can better collect and better utilize the information to make better decisions. Okay, any questions on editing here? A lot of this takes time, like to move things around and get them like lined up nicely. It's just sort of a mouse thing, But if you ever came across a form and you really liked it, you can duplicate it pretty much in here. because you have you got the ruler lines, you can position things where you want. I mean, you could literally measure them on a document you want to emulate, and you can, okay, well, this needs to be right here, and you can line up. That's why you have these grid lines here, that you can line things up and have it exactly where you want it. And in terms of images, you can bring in any image you want. So if you want a background image, you can do that, you know, or something that's, you know, not background, that's good too. You can put wording in here. If you wanted this template to always say something right here, like, thanks for your business. Okay. You could size it the way you want. You know, you can put it wherever you want. And then that would become a permanent fixture on the document, on the invoice, or whatever it is you're doing. And you wouldn't have to type it in each time. So you do things like that. Okay, any questions on the form, how you move, the different layers of customization? Seem pretty straightforward to you guys?
Can you start with a blank one, or does it have to be one that's already created?
There is no blank one. You have to you start with one created. As far as I know, I don't know. Yeah, I think you have to start with something. Okay. Yeah. Because it's got to be one of the 7 types, invoice, whatever, and there's no blank invoice. You have to use whatever is there. Okay, so I'm not going to save these changes. So. All right, so that's customizing forms. Okay, the last, unless you have some questions on that, the last area we're going to look at is company. Under company, there's this prepare letters with envelopes. And what this allows you to do is you can you can create a whole bunch of different letters, whether it's collection letters, customers letters, vendors letters, employee letters, letters to other names. Now they've created a bunch for you, so you have a bunch of standard templates you can use or piggyback off of. And if you have your own writing of stuff you want to send, you can do that as well. So let's take a look at like collection letters. What you would do is it would say, well, who do you want to send them to? You can pick active or inactive. You can say customer or jobs. And you can say, I want to send them a collection letter if they're over so many days old. So this sort of filters the information you need. Then you hit next, and then there's a bunch of letters you're going to be able to choose from. Okay, this is the only one that has money due us, and then this is the different letters you can select. These they created for you. So let's look at the harsh letter. Let's see how harsh they are. So we're going to look at the harsh letter, and I'm going to assign my name to it, or whoever. If you're sending it out, maybe put your name and title. So that's what ends up on the letter at the bottom of it. And now it's going to open up Word and create the letter for you with that person's information so that you can mail it to them. So there it is. So it puts the company information at the top, dates it. This is who it's going to. Dear Mrs. Campbell, the following invoices are long overdue. Please contact us immediately unless we hear from you. We're going to do something. We must hear from you. Da, da, da. It's not too harsh. Sincerely, Kurt Barenfeld. So then I can print these out and mail them out. Now, if I wanted to change this letter, I certainly could. I can change it right here. Or if I wanted to change the template, what I could do is go to customize letter templates. I want to view or edit existing letters. I could create one from scratch, create a new letter from scratch, create one from an existing Word document or letter template, organize existing ones. Okay, let's look at view. So here's the different type of letters I have, and these are all the standard letters for each area that QuickBooks has created for me. So if I want to change one of these, the collection letter, let's say the harsh collection letter, I'd pick it, say next. It would open it up for me, and then I can modify it and save it, and that could become the new template. Or I can rename it to something else, and still have the old one, but also have this new one. And that's really all there is. I mean, what you really need to do is look these templates over, see which ones you like or could use, and then when you use them, it'll ask you who you want to send them to, and you'll filter the information. They'll get generated. You print them out, and you're done. You know, then you send them out. You mail them out. Now, they don't have a way of emailing them or anything like that that I'm aware of. It's all like, you know, they create them and then you print them. I mean, maybe Word has a way. I think Word, you could probably email them from Word if you wanted to. But, you know, then you're really using Microsoft's program at that point.
Now with the letter, once you create those outside of Microsoft, they actually don't keep a copy within this program itself. Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, basically what they're doing is they're piggybacking off Microsoft's products, and then when you're in that environment, that's the environment you're in.
Okay.
But the data is being generated from QuickBooks.
Well, I know you can store it in there because I use that little clip on each employee, and I scan in their W-4s and all.
Oh, okay.
You can actually store all their information.
Yeah,
on
the
that little paper
attachments.
clip.
Yeah, it's called attach. That's a good point.
I put all of that in there, so it's there, so you don't have to go pull a file every time I need their stuff. I can just click on it, and it's in there.
Are you Amber or Mackenzie?
Amber.
So what Amber is saying is that
You'd have to re-scan that one.
there is a feature in every document in QuickBooks. It's called attach file. It's this little paperclip thing. Mm-hmm. So throughout QuickBooks on the forms, you'll see this time and again. And what it allows you to do, if you click on this, it allows you to attach a file directly to the document you're in. It could be a PDF, a Word file, an Excel file, or whatever. And it's sort of a neat feature. So maybe in the sample company I can't do it.
I do it under the
Before
employees.
you can attach, you must fill in the fields. Oh, I have to have a transaction. So let me open up a transaction that I have, and I'll show you how this works. It is a great feature. They used to charge for it, but now it's free. It's free now.
Well, I like it because you don't have to pull the employee's file. It's right there.
Oh yeah, it's great. I mean, you're absolutely right about that. It's a great system. So let's see. Let's do an invoice here. So when you go attach, what opens up is this window, and then you can find your file from a scanner or a computer. So if it's a computer, what happens is the browser window comes up and you go ahead and find it. Mm-hmm. So if you save these letters and they went to customers and they're a Word file, you just find where you saved it and you would attach it, and once you have it, it attaches to the document. And then the paper clip is green, which means something is attached. So that's how it works. Then it shows you all your documents in here that you have against that particular invoice. Okay? So that's a neat little feature too. All right, well, that's pretty much all the things that we're supposed to cover from the outline. What questions you guys have? We'll open up to the floor. Any question you have about anything, even if we didn't cover it, I'm happy to try to answer it. But let me hear your questions if you have any. Are you guys just tired out? But especially the two-day people, it's a lot of information, isn't it? I mean, but you can see this program for $200 is unbelievable, all the stuff you get.
$200?
Yeah. Well, Premier is maybe $400. Whatever the price is, it's really a value.
I wouldn't pay for 3 seats.
Right, or $1,200, or well, you can usually get it for $300, so maybe $900. It's still an unbelievable deal.
Yeah.
They've put everyone out of business, basically. They have put almost everyone out of business because they can't compete with what these guys offer. And then the third-party programs like Meta, they defer to QuickBooks for all the financial stuff because they can't compete with them.
I mean, they do the end of, as far as what we're taking in from insurance companies. Mm-hmm.
Right, they manage the patients. They're a patient management system.
So I don't have any of that in here because it's not.
No, of course not. But what I'm saying is QuickBooks is such a bang for the buck that software companies that create systems use QuickBooks as the back office end of the financial accounting part because they can't compete with them. They can't build it into theirs and have as much functionality and integration.
Well, in all reality, to pay the two of us to do it is cheaper than to pay an accountant and a payroll person to do it.
Right.
Because all the accountant gets is my stuff, puts it together, does the taxes.
Right. That's right.
all he does.
That's right.
Because I've done everything else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what we were paying out in payroll wasn't really worth it.
No, payroll can be expensive. Well, what questions you guys? You guys must have some questions. Nothing?
Tomorrow I will.
Right. Once you start
If you
using
get
it.
his card, you can just email him or call him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I gave you cards. If you guys like run into something, you're like, gosh, how do you do that? Just shoot me an email or something. I don't mind answering a question or two. I mean, if it was like a big project, like, hey, fix my books. Well, that's a different story. But, feel free to. I mean, I have no problem. I get a couple questions a week, and they're usually really easy to answer. Because I know this program very well. So, if it just takes me a few minutes to answer a question, it's not a big deal. All right. Well, listen, I want to thank everyone. I hope you got some good things out of the class. We appreciate you taking it. And if you do get a chance, if you haven't filled out the evaluation, I appreciate that as well. I always like to get feedback. And like I say, if you have a question or two sometime, feel free to give me a buzz, and thank you for attending the course.
I have a quick question. You probably went over it yesterday. If we have two different computers, I only have it on one. Can we load it on two computers? So when I'm not working on it, she can work on
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. Like I said yesterday, when you can load QuickBooks on as many computers as you want,
It's the actual.
and you can access the same file, but not simultaneously.
Right.
If you want to access simultaneously, that's how many licenses you'll need.
Okay.
So if you two never were on
And
it
if
at
we
the same
have three
time.
different companies, can she be working on one company while I'm working on the other?
Yes, yes. As long as it's not the same file, you're okay.
No?
From
Okay.
two different computers, it can't be signed on, I don't think.
Sure,
We have two different logins.
sure, but they're two different
We have
files.
Two different logins.
Two different files.
Huh.
Now, how do you make them? What do you do? Just hook the two computers up, or run it over the network, or?
Well, you need accessibility to the same file. So if you have a server, just put it on the server.
I can't though, because it's Meta's. That's
Just put it on one of your machines
It's on my
and
machine.
wirelessly recognize each other, network them that way.
network the two
Network.
together.
Yeah. That'll work. As long as she has access to yours or you have access to hers and the files are there, that's all you need. You just need to be able to map a drive so the drive is there to find the file.
I
That's
know what
all.
you're talking about, yeah. Okay.
Yeah?
You might run into memory problems though because the Meta is a big program and so is QuickBooks.
Meta has its own server.
Oh, it does.
I access Meta through a server. We have
Oh,
a huge
that's good
network.
then.
Yeah.
Because even with me, I kept running out of memory because
Yeah,
donations.
no, we have two
factor and
servers. We have a
QuickBooks
DocStar
thing.
server and a Meta server because we have another DocStar, electronic medical record that stores all of our paper files and shred everything. So we're paperless all the way around.
We get donations, that's how we exist. So I go through and I enter my donations in the general ledger.
You do a journal entry or you do a deposit?
I do a general entry.
Okay, okay.
But that's where I write these 1,000 letters a day from. Can it be set up so that as you're doing that, you can do letters to just a single person that you're acknowledging their donation?
Yeah, absolutely. All you have to do is in this very function we were looking at, is all you need to do is go into that function. Let's say it's a customer letter, a thank you letter. So let's say we're going to send it, we're just going to pick one of them. Let's say unmark all, and let's say it was just Robert Allard. This is the one person you just got. So you just go next. You pick the letter you want, customer thank you maybe. Maybe there's a thank you letter. Thanks for business, whatever it is, thanks for. So thanks, next. Put your name in here, next. It'll open it up, done. Print it out, mail it. Or just save it as a PDF and email it, whatever you want. Okay?
But you actually mean like the IRS acknowledgement letter, right? Is that what you're sending them?
No, it's
Like the amount of the gift?
You can make a IRS letter, you can make a thank you letter, make any letter you want. And if you need to print on your letterhead, just put that in the printer, and that's what you print it out on.
See, but we don't have letterhead. We just
Don't worry about it then. Then just print it out like it is. I'm just saying, if you did have
But you could
letterhead.
edit, but you could create your own letterhead.
You could insert a logo right there, and that's your letter. That's your logoed letterhead. If that matters, doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Just send it like it is.
But you could create that in a template.
Yeah, but this isn't a template for a form. This is just a letter writing
Yeah, but
thing.
you could create a template that had a letter in it, probably. You just have to edit
But
it
not
out.
using this function though. This function only works with Word.
I was just thinking how to get the letterhead. Anyway.
So does that answer your question on
Yeah.
that one? Okay, good. All right. What other questions you guys have? Any others? Okay. Well, if you I'm going to be cleaning up, so if you think about it, if you guys just could close out of your QuickBooks and close on your computer, that would help me a little bit. And if you think of any questions while I'm sort of putting things away, I'm here. Okay.
Do you have the evaluation form for
Oh,
the
yeah, sure.
2-day people?
Sure.
Is that your wife that answers the 1-800 number?
Gail, yeah. It is. Why? Did you talk to her?
Yeah. No, she was nice. It's just,
Maybe that would be, what else came out in May?
Thanks, Kurt.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it.
Maybe.
A good one. Thank you.
Maybe it look better. Yep. Not it made it look worse.
No.
Drive home.
Pick up the kids in a city. Drive around Cicero. Right in front of Gillette Road. And stay there till 11 tonight.
Is that how late it's been out?
Yeah, those softball games don't get over till like 10:30. It's ridiculous.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I can get.
It's like Cicero swamp area, so the bugs are not crazy.
I'm gonna turn around and I gotta see what time I probably want to kids in the morning, so.
we only get charged $300 a year for our payroll service because,
Oh, that's a good deal.
How
Yeah.
much?
but, well, it's special. I mean, it's,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think ours was, I wanna say, about $1,600 a month.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
How many employees?
Yeah, like 25.
20, well, yeah,
At the highest.
yeah.
Yeah, but you'll save that money.
I said she
Yeah.
doesn't pay us that.
You know what? You
minor
gotta put in all
salary.
the information anyway. Right?
Yeah, I did everything anyways and gave it to him. So.
Right. That's what I mean. It's sort of like they're printing checks and reports. I mean,
And I'm still managing the bank accounts, so it really didn't make any sense. I was managing the bank accounts, the hours, employees, the HR, 401k.
I know it's
Because we have to do everything.
they're counting on people's fear
Mm-hmm.
is what it is.
Well, I didn't. January I would have. I was overwhelmed. She gave me too many jobs at once, and I couldn't handle them all. She's like, "Well, you can put a year's worth in like 10 weeks, right?" Yeah. Okay, I'll do my best.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I mean, let me tell you, downloading from the banks is probably the one thing that saved me time. But you still have to go through and balance them all, and it just,
yeah.
it takes a lot of time. And credit cards, like you said, and loans, and there's not just one. There's more than one, and lines of credit, and there's two
Sure.
different banks, and it just took so much time.
Mm.
It was overwhelming. Then what? Like 2 months ago, she said, "Oh, I'm going to give you an assistant." I'm like, "I love you," because I don't do just HR and
So
just
you
this.
both are really new.
I actually do patient workers comp, which I've sort of had her
Yeah.
do. I do a lot of other things like on the patient end, in healthcare instead of just the employee end. So I work
Mhm.
on both ends of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You're never bored.
Yeah.
We never have a spare or a dull moment. No, there's always work to be done.
Well, that's. I
Which is
mean,
good for jobs.
And these
That
QuickBooks,
is
I can
good.
tell you, this is what's helped us with purchasing this building because they want numbers, they want months, they want this, they want profit and loss, they want balance sheets. So this is tremendously helped us because it's kept everything in order. It just took me, like I said, 10 weeks to pull a year together to put it in order.
yeah, but it sounds like you're really on it now.
Yeah. Now I'm downloading from the bank weekly and keeping up on that stuff. And
That's great.
I have because I have an extra hand. But if we could get it on another computer,
Yeah.
Well, here's a question. So if we do have another business opening, I do a separate payroll under that company itself. I don't, right? I don't have to merge the two. I just do two
No,
separate.
it's separate, yeah.
Because we'll have, people employed under the building that work for the building, we'll have people employed under our other business and people that are.
Now, what I
invested in
don't
our
know is,
business.
do you have to buy, that's a good, what I don't know, do you have to buy a separate module for like 2 payrolls?
I don't know. If you have different companies, you can't have the payroll in each company.
I know, but I don't know if you have to buy, I don't know if it's a payroll
Separate.
for each file, or if
Because
it's
they're
like,
different tax IDs, you're saying.
or if it, yeah, right.
Yeah, because they will all have different tax IDs.
Yeah.
So they probably
I don't,
will need
I don't know, let me know what you find out, I'll try to find out and let you know,
How many
how
things
about
I've had
that?
to find out?
Let me find out and let you know.
You know how many hours I spent on the phone with QuickBooks one night trying to do payroll? I'm like, just help me make this work.
Right, were they
First 2 weeks, I literally was on the phone with them for 4 hours until I
Wow.
got it down because I didn't know how to do it. It was all new to me. So,
Right.
but they did. They pretty
were
much
helpful.
they got me.
Yeah,
through it.
QuickBooks Intuit. I like Intuit. I think I have a special helpline because I'm a pro advisor, so it's a little bit usually people from this country you're talking to. So
Yeah, I don't usually get that.
and that usually helps, but not always. I mean, you still
Right.
sometimes get the
And I like the little help button. I do use that a lot. Like type in questions.
yeah.
And get answers, and that's how I figured out most of my liabilities and all that because I used that little help button, and I just kept reading what people posted and following directions what they did, and that's what got me where I was.
Yeah, sometimes the help, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. But I'm glad it helped you.
Yeah. Well, now we have a better understanding. So, and she said I didn't do bad training her, so I learned something, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Well,
All right, thank you so much.
well, thanks. I'm gonna check with my board and see what they think if they'll approve some
Yeah, I mean,
hours or whatever. But
any
is
way
there
I can help you guys, I'd love to.
is there a month like where you're slower than others? Like, I mean,
I'm never overwhelmed. I sort of pace. I don't know. I've always been fortunate.
freelancing around.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very flexible. So, no, I'm pretty open. Whatever's going to work. I try to accommodate my clients, Whatever's going to work for you, I'll make it work for me.
Well,
For 2 weeks, I have an office in Florida that we're setting up a new call center. I'm going to be there for 2 weeks and, back
Really?
half of
Where?
September, but that's about it.
yeah. Where's your office in Florida?
It's in Port St. Lucie. My right-hand man, he's a techie guy that I use, and he helps me with a lot of things. He lives there, so we've sort of built it around
Nice.
because he lives there, and so it just, it sort of works out. And, he manages the people. We've got 3 people down there now,
Oh, good.
and then him, that's 4. So I do, I help him with, I do a lot of the trainings, even for the staff and everything, and then not just QuickBooks, but all kinds of things, Like we use this Sandler selling system. It's a sales system, and I'm big into Covey 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, so I use that type of
Oh, the Franklin Planner stuff.
the methodology, and so there's just a lot of things that I do in that regard. And then I do some of these trainings. I help with the curriculum because we're expanding into all the office products too, our trainings. So we're constantly trying to grow the business because we've just really done the QuickBooks. We've been really successful with that, so we're trying to grow from there. So I'm busy, but I'm not overwhelmed, is how I like to characterize it. But I am busy. So yeah, just let me know if you need anything, or even if you just have a question or two. Maybe a lot of stuff you'll sort of figure out as you go back. But
Well, the bad part, as we just never have a lot of money.
Yeah.
When you're a
Oh, I
charity,
know.
you just don't have a lot of money to work with, and it's kind of frustrating because you want to just order up this and that, and you can't. So and you're tied by, you know, the opinions of the people above you too.
Yeah.
Like, whether they want this or whether they want that. I mean, they want everything, but then when you tell them,
Yeah, they want it for free.
yeah, I need help or I need this, you know,
Yeah.
they're kind of like this course, they were kind of like, geez, Doreen, you're pretty smart. I don't think you need to go to this. And I'm
So
like,
I've been begging for years to go
Yeah.
on, and I'm like, come on. And we have a particular board member who gives me a hard time at every board meeting. Well, what's that from? Well, why is it that way? Did you change it? This is a form you set up, David, so, no,
Yeah.
I didn't change it, and.
Well, did this course help you?
Mhm.
Good, good.
Yeah.
And you
yeah,
feel-
it helped me too. I mean, I bought the QuickBooks book and stuff, but visually, it's much easier to see something and to have it explained to you than to try to look in the book and.
Yeah, I know. I hate books.
I mean,
It's
I'm
hard
a
to learn
visual
from books.
person, so I like that when you and when you.
Well,
when
once in a
ask
while,
the
you need,
question.
you need to get out of the office. You need to get out there and see things a little different and get another opinion, perspective. That's necessary. I mean, it's not like you're doing it every week.
Yeah.
You know, you do it like what, every year, 2 years,
Another
whatever.
6 years.
6
This is the
years,
first
I mean,
time I got out, so.
You know, I mean, it's sort of like being penny wise and dollar foolish. If this can jumpstart what you're doing into something more, it's well worth it.
And I think this is a good time for me to take it, because we're going to be kicking off our capital campaign.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I agree with that.
Well, yeah, this is my first training that they paid for, and I was like, you know, look, you guys.
It's sort of pay me now or pay me
Well,
later, right?
You have to fight them and get a little bit of training, because at the same time, it's like you just need it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. Well, we do these all over the country, and we find there's a demand for it, so that's why we do it.
So do you pay your instructor just based on how big the class size is?
No.
Or just
a
a
fi-
flat fee? You
Yeah.
get $500 for the day because this was your class?
Exactly. That's exactly the. So my risk is not having enough people, you know. But usually, and we have to cancel maybe 15% of the classes. I mean, it's inevitable, but you know that's how it is. But most of the classes we hold, and we have good turnouts. You know, this was sort of a small class. Usually we get 10, 12 people. I mean, we get sometimes as many as 25.
Mm-hmm.
The smallest I'll do a class is maybe 6 or 7, you know, something like that. We had 10 sign-ups. So that it was okay. It was good, you know.
I thought it was good for the number of people, and I was really pleasantly surprised that it wasn't a bunch of young kids in here. That I was like,
No, it's usually no. It's this
I'm
is
very impressed.
this is a very normal turnout. The mix of people. It's not young people at all. I mean, I'm not saying we don't get young people, but I'd say everyone is 40s and up. The vast majority are 40s and up. It's people with experience usually. It's the people that are wearing a lot of hats in a small business or not-for-profit.
yeah.
We usually get about 10, 20% not-for-profits, which is exactly what we got this time. 20%, you two, you know. And most of our clients are women. 80, 90% are women, which is about what it is this time too. Because women are the ones doing the work. You know, you guys are doing the, you know, the office work or whatever. Now, Eric was, you know, he was an owner of a business, and then John yesterday, he was, you know, a manager, so we do get a mix. And those were the two guys. So, I don't know. It's, you know what, it's probably one of the better programs to teach because it has a lot to it. You know what I mean? Some I think, software packages wouldn't be as interesting as QuickBooks, because QuickBooks deals with all aspects of a business in terms of the accounting. You know what I mean? So I think that's why I like teaching. And I like accounting. I mean, I've always been an accounting person.
Well, have a good week.
Okay, you too.
Thanks for your help.
Only got one more day. All right, we'll see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.